Okay, this is a short video about my views on the Ukrainian problems with the Eurovision 2019. I'd rather hoped all this crap had ended a couple of years ago, when there was this huge political problem in the Eurovision with the Russian entrant who was disabled and in a wheelchair being banned from Ukraine because she performed in Crimea. While appearing to have entered Crimea from Russia. Now, at the time, fair enough, those were their rules. I may not like it, nobody really liked it, the international community was generally disappointed with this politics called problems, and the politics being used in the Eurovision. People had rather hoped this had been the end of it, and rather hoped that perhaps they could put that behind them, and perhaps, the Russia Ukraine stuff could end. However, it appears that's not quite the case. On the Eurovision selection process in Ukraine recently, one of the Eurovision entrants, possibly others as well, I don't know, those that were competing to represent Ukraine were asked whether they thought Crimea belonged to Ukraine or Russia. What this had to do with music, I've no idea. The woman decided to be patriotic to Ukraine and said that she thought Crimea still belonged to Ukraine. Then apparently she has now, having won the selection process, turned down the opportunity to represent Ukraine because she claims that the Ukrainian broadcaster wanted her to be a political mouthpiece for the Ukrainian government, for Ukrainian political policies, and she claimed that she just wanted to go abroad, represent her country as a singer, sing a song, talk about music, and hopefully, from her perspective, improve her profile. It turned so apparently she and the broadcaster could not agree on the terms because she felt she was going to be used as some sort of political propagandist and she just wanted to be a normal singer. Now it turns out that the broadcast thought, okay, then we'll give the chance to whoever came second. And if the person who comes second turns us down, then we'll go to the person who came third in the national selection. Those people have also turned it down because they too don't want to be used as some sort of political propagandist. It is a shame that a music contest which was originally designed to bring peace among former enemy countries is being used to wage some sort of political war between Russia and Ukraine. It would be nice if people just sent a representative, people turned up, just tried to do their best and just tried to win based on putting on a good performance with a song that people like. But unfortunately it seems that Russia and Ukraine in recent years haven't wanted to do that. Although in fairness, Russia this year is sending Sergei Lazarev again, who won the public vote, would have won the public vote, or the televote really, in I forget when now, but I think it was 2016 I believe, and he would have come first if it had been entirely down to televoting all over Europe. But the jury marked him down and instead preferred the Australian entry. So in the end he came third in the contest. But if it had been under the old rules, which were voted for virtually entirely by televote, he would have won the contest. He's now coming back this year, and nobody knows what the song is going to be yet. We just know that he's going to take part in May, and that the song will apparently be unveiled in March on the 4th. I do hope that it is does not have any political propaganda in it, because if it does, it will be banned by the EBU, and it is just a good song that people like and that he performs well. I know last time he put on some sort of spectacular stage show, which many people thought was groundbreaking for the time, but even if you exclude the staging, um, it was still, in my view, a good song that people liked, okay? Did he have the best voice on the night? Possibly not, but to be fair, Sergei was at a disadvantage because he's a Russian and it's difficult for Russians to sound good in English, even though he's been singing in English for years, okay? Um, Compared to somebody like, you know, well, the Australian entry that year, because obviously English is their first language. So it will be interesting to know what Russia puts up this year, and hopefully there won't be any political propaganda or problems from Russia's side. It's just a huge shame that Russia and Ukraine wanted to use the Eurovision for propaganda rather than just as an entertainment show to boost their own profile, particularly when Ukraine itself recently won the contest. And they won the contest in 2016 and represented and hosted it in 2017, admittedly with controversy when they wouldn't let the Russian entrant in because, as I mentioned, she had performed in Crimea. Many people thought it was a bit mean considering the woman was disabled and was in a wheelchair, but there you go. So hopefully this political nonsense will end, and perhaps Ukraine might find an entrant this year or they may decide to, um, or they may decide not to take part in it, or the broadcaster may back down, change their terms and conditions, which I hope they do, and just say the entry only has to go abroad, not embarrass the country, but also doesn't have to provide political slogans about the politics of the country, and could, if they wish to, just refuse to answer political questions and say they're just a singer and they're not particularly interested in politics. For example, Britain has been involved in many wars in recent years, but I can't remember the last time a Eurovision entrant from Britain was actually asked about the Iraq War, or about the war in Afghanistan, or as wanting to bomb Syria, or anything else like that. I just can't remember it ever happening, and I'm sure if the entrant had been asked, they could have either said they didn't agree with government policy and been allowed to still be the candidate, or they could just have simply said that they weren't particularly interested in politics and didn't want to talk about it. So I think it's a shame that this is happening, but hopefully Russia and Ukraine will perhaps one day be friendly, and they can just see the Eurovision as what it is, some fun and some light entertainment for the public and a music show, rather than a show about politics and dragging politics into what was meant to be a peaceful international music competition. Okay? Those are my thoughts on what's happening regarding the Ukraine selection process for the Eurovision 2019. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.